Welcome to the Vibrantly You podcast. We're your hosts, Megan Martineau
and Caitlin Cipriano. In this podcast, we talk about fitness and nutrition on your motherhood journey. Whether you are trying to conceive, pregnant, postpartum, or beyond, you are welcome here.
Nothing is off limits, and our goal is to support you in this important season of life so that you can feel vibrantly you. As a reminder, this information is not medical advice. Please see the show notes for more details.
And welcome back to another episode of the Vibrantly You podcast. I'm Caitlin, your co-host, and I am a perinatal nutritionist. Today we are doing another solo episode on one of my favorite topics, which is how your nutrient needs shift throughout pregnancy. So I know that nutrition during this stage can feel really overwhelming when not only are you trying to take care of yourself, but you're growing a human, another organ. There's just all of these unsolicited opinions floating around. So we're going to try to keep this super simple, friendly, and doable. Okay. I am going to walk you through a pregnancy trimester by trimester to share with you what your body and your baby are needing most in each phase, why it matters, and some easy real life meal ideas so that you can meet those needs without any pressure to be perfect. Whether you are in your first trimester, you're just trying to survive the nausea, or you're in that home stretch really prepping for your birth, this episode is going to help you feel more empowered and more nourished. So let's get right into it. Okay, so first trimester, this is really thinking about laying the foundation. So again, everything is happening during this phase for your baby is foundations, right? This is when the brain, the spinal cord, the heart, major organs are starting to form. So even though you might not be showing yet, your body is working overtime behind the scenes. So in this phase, the things that are important to think about, the first one is folate. So folate is critical for early neural tube development. Think of this as your foundation for your baby's nervous system, and you're going to find it in things like leafy greens, lentils, avocados, beans, and liver, if that's your thing. And also just a note here, like prenatals are not all created equally. So please make sure that you are checking with your provider on options that are going to be optimal for you as an individual. Another nutrient that's really critical here in trimester 1 is vitamin B6. B6 is amazing in early pregnancy, not only for the baby's development, but it can also help reduce nausea. I know in my birth story, and I think Megan's as well, in our with our second kiddos, we both experienced a lot of nausea, and B6 was actually a supplement that my provider recommended that I take, and it definitely was beneficial. But you can get this from food sources too. So things like bananas, chicken, potatoes, and even some fortified cereals can kind of give you a nice little B6 boost. Okay. Choline is our next one, and this is one of my absolute favorites to talk about because I don't think it gets enough attention, but choline is essential for baby's brain and spinal cord development, and most women are just not getting enough here. So this is eggs, especially the yolks. That is one of the best sources for choline, but it is also in like beef, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts too. Okay. Last one that I want to talk about here for our first trimester is iron. So your blood volume is starting to increase, and it plays a really key role in developing your placenta. So sources are red meat, pumpkin seeds, spinach, and lentils. And if you are having those plant-based sources of iron, then you're going to want to pair it with a vitamin C source. This is going to help you better absorb that non-Hemi iron. So you can think about like a little squeeze of lemon on your spinach salad, or, pair the source with some strawberries as a snack. And now I need to pause and just like say this, because again, this is like first trimester. If you are just in survival mode right now, you're eating crackers in bed, you're just like sipping on your ginger tea, you're not doing it wrong. Survival, happens. You do what you can when you can, and there is no award for being perfect during this stage of life. I promise. And a few ideas that might work for you, even if like everything smells weird and you're exhausted all the time. You can do like a smoothie that has like frozen banana, Greek yogurt, a spoonful of peanut butter. Keep it simple with what you can tolerate. If you can do eggs with spinach, amazing. During my first pregnancy, the only way I could eat eggs was if my partner cooked it. So, like experiment with what you can tolerate. Okay. But even something like a banana muffin with nut butter gets you that vitamin B6, like you're right there. So they can be these things that do feel like enjoyable and, nutrient dense at the same time. Okay. So let's move right along into the second trimester. And I think this feels like that really lovely, like honeymoon phase of the pregnancy. You are hopefully going to be getting some of your energy back. That nausea is ideally going to start easing up for you, and baby is starting to grow fast now. So this is a time to start like building strength and supporting that rapid development. So this is what we want to focus on. Calcium. The baby's bones are forming, and so calcium is a must, and your body is going to actually steal it from your own bones if it's not coming through in your diet. So this is a really important one to keep up with. Yogurt's great, sardines if you're brave, tahini and leafy greens are all great sources. Okay. Our next nutrient that's important here is magnesium. This is going to help reduce muscle cramps, support sleep, and also play a role in blood sugar balance. My absolute favorite source is dark chocolate, but it is also in almonds, cashews, whole grains, and greens. And then I just want to talk about actually a macronutrient here for a moment and talk about protein. Our protein needs go up significantly in the second trimester. So if you were struggling in that first trimester with protein, we definitely want to shift our focus here and really optimize protein intake. You can think about adding in more eggs, chicken, lentils, Greek yogurt. You can add collagen into a smoothie or oatmeal to help kind of bridge any gaps that you might need. But that's a really important one to focus on as we're starting to feel better. And then I want to lastly talk about omega-3s during the second trimester, especially DHA. DHA supports babies' brain and eye development. If you are eating salmon or a similar fatty fish 1 to 2 times a week, this is amazing. If fish is not your thing, you can also get omegas from things like flax, chia seeds, and walnuts. But if you're not really into fish, it may be good to consider some supplementation here, and that will be helpful as well. A few ideas to try this trimester would be like a chia seed pudding with berries and coconut milk. Love that. And then if you again are into like Greek yogurt, you can do like some walnuts and honey. You could do some bowls with chicken or lentils that have quinoa and roasted veggies. So really doing like a nice nourish bowl here. And then again, if you're a smoothie person, you can add that collagen in. I really like doing like a spinach, frozen mango, and your milk of choice. That one's great. And again, including that dark chocolate into the rotation. It's always helpful. Okay. This is a great window to really just, double down on those nutrient dense meals. Again, keep things simple, include things that are going to be satisfying, because we're then going to be transitioning into the third trimester, that final stretch. Your baby is putting on weight and developing fat stores, and you're prepping for the marathon that is birth. So what's extra important now, I want to circle back. I know we talked about iron initially, but this is definitely when that blood volume increases up to 50%. So your iron needs are really at those peaks. So again, like, really remember to, if you're having those non-hemi sources, pair them with vitamin C to help with absorption. I want to talk about vitamin K here, and this one's important for blood clotting, both for you during birth and for your baby. So leafy greens, broccoli, Brussels sprouts are great options. And then again, the DHA and choline are super important here, again, for brain development and supporting your own nervous system. And then I want to bring in a topic that we've talked about before, but digestion. So fiber and fluids are going to be really helpful. So our 3Fs, our fiber, our fluids, our healthy fats, because constipation can ramp up around this time. So making sure that you are getting enough fruits, veggies, oats, whole grains, and that you're staying hydrated with water, teas, and soups are going to be just really helpful as you are in this final home stretch with your pregnancy. The other thing too to note with hydration is that you may want to consider doing some electrolytes in a water bottle daily just to help prepare for labor. They can just be super helpful. If you don't want to do an electrolyte supplement, you can also consider coconut water, bone broth, a sprinkle of sea salt into things can also go a long way. But some meal ideas too that are really helpful for this phase would be like lentil stew with greens and carrots. You can do a smoothie again. Again, like just focusing on that hydration. Snacks like trail mix or hard-boiled eggs. Again, just like some really nice, warming, nourishing meals so that you can be like gentle with yourself, but also just impactful with your meals. Sometimes because of digestion, you may need to do like some smaller, more frequent meals, especially towards the end when there's just not as much room. So if you need to split your meals up and do them, more as like little snack plates, or just like have half a meal at 11 and another at 1 or 2 o'clock, that's totally okay as well, as long as we're still prioritizing that nutrition. Okay, everything counts here. Okay, I know that was a whirlwind, but there you have it. That's our trimester by trimester nutrient breakdown. Right? You don't need to remember every single nutrient that I talked about here. You don't need to perfect every single meal, but the more you can understand about what your body and what baby need and find these like simple ways to incorporate them, I do think it really helps you feel empowered on this journey. And just remember, like, nourishment adds up over time, and not every meal has to be to a T. I hope this episode was really helpful. And if you could leave a review or share it with another mama to be, that would be amazing. Every, review and comment matters to us. We love your support. And if you want to have something a little more visual for this, I do have a prenatal nutrition guide that you can download on my website. We'll leave the link for you in the show notes. And until next time, keep nourishing yourself in a way that feels vibrantly you.